What is up, guys? Stark here. In today's character spotlight, I am doing the second character in the new Fate Excel Zero Order batch, and that is going to be Emiya Assassin. Now, I guess I'll throw a small spoiler warning out for anyone who doesn't want to know his actual identity. It's going to be on the stats image that I have, and I will probably mention it briefly in that, and I will try not to say his name anymore throughout the video, so if you guys don't want to be spoiled, then just go ahead and skip ahead in the video. I will put a timestamp on the description because I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to stop talking about it. So I'll let you guys do that right now if you want to go ahead and do that. So for all of you guys who are still staying, it is Emiya Kiritsugu, the main character of Fate Zero, and he is pretty damn awesome in my opinion. He has my favorite male voice actor, period. So I was really happy about that. I'm really glad that he is in this series in some fashion. I'm pretty sure he has other characters, but honestly at this point I don't know exactly who they are. I just know for sure that it's this character. And his artwork is really cool, and he is a assassin 4-star, so he will go up to level 80. And at level 80 he will have 8,958 attack and 11,168 HP. So this will rank him 49th overall in HP and 48th overall in attack. So he's got pretty balanced stats, middle of the pack more or less, and honestly not bad stats. Honestly, not bad at all. If you do decide to max him out, he will end up with 12,846 attack and 15,541 HP. So now moving on here to his servant skills. He's got a pretty good set of skills, honestly, and his first one is going to be the Magecraft B. This is a self buff that will increase arts card effectiveness for 1 turn. This will start at 24% at level 1 and goes all the way up to 40%. This is a very nice skill. You have a pretty solid boost at level 1, and then obviously at level 10 is going to be a much higher boost. And this works really nice. He is very artsy heavy, and this definitely benefits doing extreme damage with this character, which he's certainly capable of doing. Moving on here to the second skill is going to be the Grace of the Holy Grail A+. Now this will apply Ignore Invincibility for 3 turns to himself, and it will also increase his critical strength for 3 turns. However, it will decrease his allies' debuff resistance for 3 turns as well. So it's not a huge deal, and it's a pretty fair trade-off for being able to ignore invincibility and increase your critical strength. So it's definitely not something you want to shy away from using, and honestly, debuff resistance isn't really that big of a deal, especially right now in the game. So he will increase his critical strength by 30% at level 1 and then 50% at level 10. So this is really nice. I really do like his kit because he's really good at focused on arts cards and on crit teams. So you have like more of a diversity of options for his character builds and character setups. And then for his third and final skill is going to be the Scapegoat C. This will taunt all enemies to attack 1 ally for 1 turn, and then it will gain critical stars. So for the stars, he'll get 5 at level 1, and then 15 at level 10. And then for the first part, it's basically like a reverse of target focus. It's not going to be applied to himself, although it can be. You're going to pick who this skill is used on. So in my last character spotlight for Angra, I was talking about how you need target focus on this character in order to use his Noble Phantasm effectively. Well, here you go. Just throw a Scapegoat on him, and then they'll be attacking him for his Noble Phantasm. So this is a very nice combination that you can use to get his Noble Phantasm off. And you could also use it on other characters that are tanky and just throw it on them. Or maybe a character that has like really high evasion or like invulnerability for 1 turn. Just throw a Scapegoat on him, and then he'll get attacked and he'll ignore all those attacks, and your team is, untouchable for that turn, more or less. Like, there are ways around it, but it's a pretty fail-safe, method, and it's a very good skill. He's got a very good set of skills. All 3 of them are quite good in their own right. Moving on here to his class skills. His first one is the Presence Concealment A+. This will increase critical star drop rate by 10.5%. And then his second skill is Independent Action A. This will increase critical strength by 10%. So now moving on here to his Ascension and skill enhancements. For his Ascension, he's going to need the Proof of Heroes, the Dust, Bones, and Teardrops of Blood. And then for his skill enhancements, he's going to need Bones, the Proof of Heroes, Homunculus Babies, and the Demon Heart. So now moving on to his command cards and his Noble Phantasm. He has 2 quick, 2 arts, and 1 buster card, which is nice because he does work very good in quick teams and arts teams. And his Noble Phantasm is also arts, and this will deal significant damage to a single enemy. And then it has the chance to decrease their Noble Phantasm charge by 1, and then on the overcharge, it will decrease critical hit rate for 3 turns. This is a pretty good skill here. I wish it played more into his like time magic, but I guess decreasing the charge of a Noble Phantasm kind of works for that, like you're delaying the Noble Phantasm. But that's just, you know, like a little thing that I wish they would have played more into, but it doesn't really take away from his Noble Phantasm at all. It's just my personal opinion. He does some really solid damage, and the chance for the charge decrease is 100%, so more or less it will always work. And then the decrease for critical hits will be 10% at level 1 and 50% at level 5. So there is an interlude quest you can do to power this up, and it will add an effect onto the first part where it'll deal damage to a single enemy that ignores defense, and it will also boost the amount of initial damage that you do with this Noble Phantasm overall. So now moving on to some of the craft essences that you could use on this character. First up, for his level 10 bond, is going to be the Where the Sun Cannot Reach craft essence, which will increase quick and arts card effectiveness of all allies by 10% while on the field. So this is a very nice craft essence. You can use it on either arts teams or quick teams, so you can benefit both with this craft essence, or you can just focus it on having, you know, one main setup. Until you get that though, you can go ahead and use some other craft essences. You can use the projection for the 15% increase for arts, or formal craft for the 25% increase in arts. You could also do the quick cards as well. I don't really have them as a recommended craft essence because you're probably gonna rather use a fragment of 20-30 for the crit stars every turn. So I'd rather that, but you know, you can throw the other ones on there. Gander and Imaginary of Rounds if you don't have any of the other options. So now moving on here to the character and review portion. I do think I need to make a new name for this type of portion for the part of the video I'm on, but we'll get to that at another point in time when I think of something better. Anyway, first up here is his stat ranking, and I'm going to give him a 3.1 out of 5 for his stats. You know, he's top 50 in both categories, so that's pretty good, but he's like right there on the edge, so I really can't give him too much more than that. But a 3.1 out of 5 is definitely not that bad. Moving on here to his skills, I'm giving him a 3.5 out of 5 overall for his skills. All three of his skills are very good, and they work, you know, very effectively in their own way. They don't really all work together though, which is a little bit disappointing, but they are three really good skills, and you could use them on a variety of different teams, especially if you're trying to use them on anger teams. So yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5 I definitely feel is a fair rating for him. And then moving on here to his Noble Phantasm, I'm giving him 3 stars out of 5 for this. It does some pretty solid damage, and then with the interlude quest you can also ignore defense, and you can remove that charge from a Noble Phantasm, which is very helpful. But overall it just doesn't do that much. It's a single target as well, so it's nice, but it's not like special or overwhelming, so it gets about a little bit better than average at 3 stars. Then moving on here to his survivability, I am giving him 2.5 stars out of 5. He doesn't have any skills that can help him survive. However, he does have that third skill, which you could use for survivability by doing what I said, where using it on a character that has a turn-based evasion, and then, you know, you're basically surviving that turn regardless of what happens because he's going to be attacking somebody else. So you definitely could count that, and that's why I'm giving him 2.5 stars. But other than that, he really doesn't have much as far as defense or evasion or healing or anything like that. So then for his versatility, I am going to give him 3 stars. Now initially I only gave him 2.5 stars, but you know, thinking about it, he can work really good on quick teams and he can work really good on arts teams. So I have to give him at least a little bit better than average. So I'm going to bump him up here to 3 stars out of 5 because he can work, you know, pretty effectively on 2 of the 3 different types of teams. So I feel like that's definitely warranting a 3-star overall. So for his overall ranking, I'm going to give him a 3 stars out of 5 ranking. You know, he's a little bit better than average, and he does have his uses in specific teams, and he can be comboed very well with other, you know, specific team setups. But none of his skills are like super standout or like super amazing or over the top. So, you know, he's good at what he does, but, you know, you're probably not going to use him in every team. And he's probably not going to be your first choice unless you specifically like this character, which I actually do, so I really want him. But that's neither here nor there. I think a 3 out of 5 is definitely a fair rating for this character. So that's going to wrap up this character spotlight for you guys. I will leave you here with his Noble Phantasm, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Sa, ついてこれる